Hey guys, LevelCap here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. This year's E3 was easily one of the most exciting in recent memory. So many highly anticipated titles were either announced or fully revealed. In no particular order, here's our top games of E3 2018. Obviously, Battlefield 5 had a huge showing at EA Play, which was right before E3, with multiple trailers, new gameplay footage, and even hands-on time for people at the event. Putting aside some of the game's historical accuracy controversies, DICE are clearly listening to the community when it comes to the gameplay of Battlefield 5. Guns have actual recoil patterns, spotting isn't an overpowered wall hack ability, suppression is purely a visual effect, destruction is more dynamic than it's ever been. Most of the aspects of Battlefield 5's gameplay seem like they're getting a refinement of things we've enjoyed about past titles. And of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I definitely have a few issues with the game based on the limited time I had with it, so be sure to check out my first impressions video for all the details. As for the Battle Royale mode, DICE confirmed it would be added to the game after launch as part of their live service roadmap for Battlefield 5. Cyberpunk 2077 has been one of the most anticipated games of the past few years. The original reveal trailer launched 5 years ago, and since then a dedicated fan base has formed. The full reveal trailer is pretty incredible. It shows off the game's massive urban environment, Night City. Based on a behind closed doors demo, players can expect a first-person shooter with a dynamic weather system and full day-night cycle, as well as fully fleshed out buildings, hundreds of NPCs to engage with, RPG leveling mechanics that let you unlock new abilities and backtrack to areas in order to find new stuff you couldn't have accessed before, and much more. CD Projekt Red have clearly dedicated a ton of time and resources into this game, considering how expansive and full of content their previous game, The Witcher 3, was. It's likely Cyberpunk 2077 will turn out to be one of the most massive games ever made. Metro Exodus. The last game in the Metro franchise is taking the series in a slightly new direction. Previous games have been set mostly in the claustrophobic underground metro system of a post-apocalyptic Russia. The new game, Metro Exodus, will feature much more open, surface-level areas to explore. Extended gameplay footage of such an area was revealed. It showcased the game's day-night cycle, seasonal weather changes, new physical-based weapon customization systems, crafting, and more. If the previous games are anything to go by, Exodus is going to be a deep and engaging title. We finally got a look at the upcoming, now 1,000 player Battle Royale game called Mavericks Proving Grounds. While it never shows off more than a handful of players at once, what it does show off actually looks pretty decent. Graphically, the graphics are not the best I've ever seen, but they're also not particularly bad. It's good considering how many players they're touting. The game will feature a dynamic weather system and dynamic environmental effects like forest fires. Players will be able to destroy some elements of the world like walls and cover. Customization seems like a big focus as the trailer shows several different cosmetic options for each character model and weapon. Sign-ups for the game's closed beta are now available. See the link in the description for that. While a lot of games at E3 this year are taking themselves very seriously, Rage 2 looks like it's going for a lot more over-the-top and fun feel to its gameplay. The original game featured some really interesting AI for its enemies, but disappointed some players with an abrupt ending and several technical issues along the way. The gameplay reveal showcased an expanded vehicle arsenal that lets you drive any vehicle in the world, an updated combat system with special abilities and new equipment, and much larger open world environments. In somewhat of an odd move, the next Wolfenstein game is going to be a co-op where you play as BJ's twin daughters. Wolfenstein Youngblood is set in 1980 and will take players to Nazi-controlled Paris. I'm sure whatever they come up with will inevitably be a wild ride. The Division 2 also debuted with some more gameplay. I also have some exclusive gameplay on my channel showing off some more stuff in Division 2. Ubisoft has built this game from the ground up with the endgame content in mind. The original game was a lot of fun until you got to the end and it turned into an endless grind with little in the way of meaningful rewards. The new setting in summertime Washington, D.C. after grass and floods have taken over the environment is certainly a lot more visually engaging than the previous game. Winter in New York City is certainly a great environment, but lacks the diversity and vibrance of a place like Washington, D.C. Only time will tell what this game delivers, but I think it seems like a very good place to start for a sequel. Fallout 76 is taking the franchise in a very new direction. It's set 20 years after nuclear war decimated life on Earth and is a shared world game similar to Destiny 2. Instead of human NPCs, all the people you encounter will be other players. There will still be wild animals and robots that all serve as NPCs though. There will also be a traditional story to play through. Players can join up in co-op squads as well. This is pretty interesting and a very big departure from what people consider as a traditional Fallout game. The Last of Us Part 2 finally got a proper gameplay reveal. Until now, we'd just seen cinematic cutscenes from the game. The level of interaction and animation detail in the gameplay footage was borderline unbelievable, but if anyone has the resources to pull it off, it's Naughty Dog. In the game, you'll play as Ellie, who returns from the first game along with Joel. Part 2 adds several new characters to the cast of the game. The follow-up to the 2016 smash hit Doom was announced. While it's not much more than a cinematic cutscene, it confirms Doom Eternal will take place on Earth. Destroyed skyscrapers and other city-like structures can be seen in the background of the trailer. The developers are saying it will feature twice the amount of demons as the first game. Whether they mean twice the variety or just twice the number of demons is still unclear. Either way, it's sure to be a good time, as the first game was absolutely insane from start to finish. Gears of War 5 is taking the series in several new directions. Players will take control of Kate, a woman who is featured in Gears of War 4. She's on a mission to understand the visions she's been having. The game will feature a more in-depth melee combat system and a great emphasis on speed and movement. 343 are taking the Halo franchise back to its roots. Supposedly, Halo Infinite will feature a visual style that more closely resembles Bungie's classic art design for the original Halo trilogy. It'll be the first Halo game since Halo 2 to have a fully featured PC version. To make the game, 343 developed a new engine. The trailer was more of a technical showcase than an actual reveal of the game. It's unlikely the game will be released before the end of next year. Overkill's The Walking Dead has been teased all year, with cinematic trailers being released every few months for its 4 playable characters. Now we finally have actual gameplay footage. The official gameplay trailer left a lot to be desired. The character animations look very unpolished, and the gameplay shown didn't really showcase any of the co-op elements of the game. That said, actual footage of a typical level has been released, and it shows a much more interesting side of the game. Essentially, it looks like Overkill's game will be similar to Left 4 Dead games, with linear progress through large levels. There will be various obstacles and hostiles in your way as you fight off zombies to scavenge loot and equipment. Insurgency Sandstorm released a new trailer, and I also got to play it on the floor of E3. The gameplay was tactical and immersive without being so complicated or obsessed with realism that it failed to be accessible. The enhanced visuals over the original game's source engine really helps sell the authenticity of the levels and combat. That said, the third-person character models and animations did need a lot of work, but the developers have already confirmed that they are working on that, and there will be new animations for the final launch. Overall, I think this very well could be the go-to game for anyone who really wants an authentic, modern military shooter that's fun and easy to play. Bohemia Interactive revealed their new survival game called Vigor. It's set in a post-apocalyptic 1991 Norway. It'll be a free-to-play, third-person shooter with scavenging and shelter mechanics. Encounters will feature 8 to 16 players in PvP situations. Vigor will launch on the Xbox Game Preview program this summer. Star Citizen released an E3 trailer showing off what is supposed to be 3.2 features, which included capital ships, although I'm not sure if those are actually part of 3.2. Maybe they're coming in 3.2, maybe 3.3. Regardless, it was a really pretty trailer that showed off a lot of the game's persistent universe, combats, ships crashing into reclaimers, all kinds of cool shit, all shot with an engine. None of the information in the trailer is particularly new to anyone who regularly consumes Star Citizen content, but it's cool nonetheless. Finally, Bethesda released teasers for both the next Elder Scrolls game and an entirely new IP called Starfield. The Elder Scrolls 6 is currently in pre-production and will release after Starfield, which is farther along in production. That said, both games are still likely a year, if not more, away from release. Regardless, it's exciting to see a follow-up to Skyrim is actually in development, and Starfield is something that, who knows, could be an interesting competitor to Star Citizen or some of the other large-scale space sims, and I'm frankly just excited to see anything that Bethesda releases. Anyway, that wraps it up for E3's top picks. This video is essentially taking the place of This Week in Gaming, so don't expect another news video tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what your favorite games of E3 were, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.